Hello everybody, with FM24's beta just around the corner. In fact, it might actually honestly already be out by the time you see this video. We just don't know with these things, unfortunately, because SI. I thought now would be a good time to make a little video about the sort of plans for the year, a lot of channel updates as well, because there's actually quite a lot of stuff in that part of things too, just to give you guys an idea of what to expect from me as a content creator, both on here and on Twitch over the coming game cycle. Before we get into that, I did just want to say yet again, thank you so much for getting the channel to 50,000 subs this game cycle. That was beyond what I really expected. It was what I was hoping, but it was never something I expected to reach, so thank you again for that. That's truly, really awesome. Hope we can continue going upwards this year as well. And just thank you for the support over the year and watching the videos and engaging with the content in general. I'm just, really excited. Before we get to the YouTube stuff, I did briefly want to touch on the Twitch stuff that's coming up over the course of this game cycle. In actuality, I'll put a disclaimer here because I know this is something that comes up quite often on videos, expectedly. So, yeah. I do speak quite fast. It's one of those things that I've always sort of struggled with over my life. I've always been a very fast speaking person, and I've never really found a way to slow it down other than when I'm directly reading off of scripts. So I do apologize that I can speak quite fast sometimes. I know that for most of you that's probably not a problem, but I suspect if maybe English isn't your first language, me machine gunning words can get a little bit tiresome at times, and I recognize that, and I'm trying my best to do better, but it's a tough one for me because once I get going it's just a flow. But moving swiftly on, so this year over on Twitch we are going to be doing a building a nation save because that's just what we do. However, this will most likely be the last one I do for the time being anyway, but this one's going to be going out with a bang. Now a lot of you will of course already know, but we are going to be doing Malta this year, a lot lower down than I think anywhere we've ever started before, but this year there's going to be some twists to it, and that is that thanks to the wonderful database work of Hadrian, one of the mods and general wonderful community members over on Twitch, we are going to be using a special database this year that is sort of optimized for the best case scenario of building a nation. I'll go into more of the minutiae of that once we actually have a proper working database for FM24 to share with you all, which we will be doing of course, but essentially there are edits made to it that is going to make it more realistic in the long term for building a nation, especially with some of the scaling aspects of FM that are just a little bit dodgy from time to time, as you all know. Things like sponsorship, prize money, and stuff like that just does not scale very well a lot of the time. Although it does seem that FM24 may have some improvements to that as well. But in addition, it'll probably be the most comprehensive database available for Malta, possibly in the entire game cycle potentially, so I just think that's kind of cool to have too. But more on that when we're actually ready to start that save. As for the beta over on Twitch, we're going to be doing the US men's national team, just to have a bit of fun and learn the game, I guess. And just tying into that slightly is an update towards the Patreon, which is something over the last few years I don't believe I've provided enough value there, and that's going to change this year, and I'm going to outline exactly how. Now, slowly over the course of the game cycle, I'm going to be consolidating it to a single £4 a month tier. But don't worry, if you are on one of the tiers below that, it won't change anything on that side of things.
Editing room, Matt here. I realised while editing this, as you do, that I wasn't as clear as I would have liked. I'm not getting rid of the lower tiers, it's only the higher ones that are being consolidated downwards, and I just didn't want people to have to be accidentally paying more for the new stuff I'm offering, which is going to be on the lower tier, and the other ones will be sunsetted eventually away from that. The other stuff below will still remain exactly as it is. I use really weird language in the video, and I don't know why, but yeah, hopefully that clears things up a little bit, because I was almost confused myself.
I've already messaged people directly that are on any tiers higher than that to let them know about the changes, and so they can adjust their pledges down accordingly or cancel them altogether. I just didn't want people accidentally paying more for the same thing. The difference is that on the £4 tier now, there are now some additional benefits. First of which is getting videos earlier. Now that will vary on how early that'll actually be. Sometimes it will be the night before release, sometimes it could be several days in advance just because of the way that my video and uploading schedule can go sometimes. It might be more closely contained during the beta as I'll be trying to get out more content for you guys. Also looking into a way to provide ad-free viewing on that tier too, but I haven't quite figured that part out yet. But the biggest other thing is the Be a Regen, and this is where this ties into the Malta save, which is why I'm talking about it. So when we did the Aaron Walker agent video, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, I used a method to basically get the game to create me a custom regen that fit my very specific requirements and have them spawn at a time of my choosing. And I know a lot of you have been asking for a video about how exactly I did that. That's going to be the first video I do once that beta drops, providing it all works. But I truly see no reason why it won't. But bringing it back, what the Be a Regen perk is essentially it allows you to have a custom regen put into our Malta save for this year over on stream, which of course you'll be seeing the recap videos for on this channel as well. You'll be able to customize virtually every single thing about your regen in there as well, and they will spawn at random times throughout the saves. I just thought it was a cool way to use this functionality and to allow you guys to potentially put yourself or a player that you might want to create yourself into the game. And I'll stagger them so they don't arrive at once, and they'll arrive throughout our save as brand new players at clubs of your choosing with the right specifications and all that lovely jazz. You'll understand all the different things you can change about it once I actually do get that video out, so expect to see that within the next few days, provided the beta drops soon. Anyway, that's enough about that. I didn't want to take up too much of the video talking about that. I just wanted to update you and make sure that I made everything kind of clear as to what's actually changing. On the YouTube side of things now, you can sort of expect to see the same type of content that you've seen from me over the past year, with the sort of wacky and wild nonsense, mostly wacky and wild nonsense, with the recaps thrown in there too, along with some additional stuff. I will be doing a proper comprehensive video about how to do a building a nation save, because there's a lot of stuff we discovered in FM23 that I wasn't able to put in the sort of mini guide I did at the start of last game cycle, this year is going to be much more comprehensive. In addition, I'll also be trying to build a large sort of ultimate scouting guide that kind of encompasses all of the methods that I've learned over the last few years, along with some stuff that we've discovered very recently, into basically one giant video rather than spreading it out across multiple videos. Just better value that way, isn't it? I'll also be doing a new database setup video because, again, there's some new stuff I found out that I think could really help you guys get the most out of your saves without having to have every league turned on, basically. And of course, we'll be talking about the new SAS skin when that does in fact come out, because I'm extremely excited about that, because it just makes the game so much more functional. And I'll obviously be dipping back into agent videos, the World Cup series as well, but I'm also considering finding a way to bring back some old favorites from the channel from back in the day in a slightly different format. Talking about things like the rebuilding saves that we used to do all the way back in the day, where we take a club that had fallen on hard times all the way down the divisions or whatever, and then bring them all the way back to the top. Now, if I was to bring that back, it would not be in anywhere near the same format. It would most likely be a single video documenting, I suppose, the entire process of that into long form content like you saw out of me with the agent video. But I know a lot of you still want to see stuff like that, and I do want to be able to do it, but it just has to be done in the right way for me. The last thing I wanted to quickly touch on is a bigger project that I've been working on, I mean, technically for the last 2 game cycles. I just haven't really found the right way of making it work, but this is the year that it's going to happen, basically. And I'm telling you this now because that way I'm accountable for it. You still won't likely see this until early next year, in terms of calendar year anyway, like early 2024. But that is the Premier League Years project. And what this essentially is I am planning to recreate an episode of the Sky Show Premier League Years. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. If you're not, a quick Google and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But my plan is to recreate an episode of that in its full length, documenting a fictional Premier League season into the future with all the sort of trimmings and stuff that you'd associate with an episode of Premier League Years. And you sort of get where I'm going with this. It's quite an ambitious project, I realise, but it's something I've wanted to do for a while because I used to bloody love that show, and I would really like to sort of translate that into Football Manager. So that's something for the future, but it's something I'm really excited about, and I wanted to tell you about it now because at least that way I can't be like, just put it off till FM27. But yeah, I think that's about all I have for you today. So more videos coming up soon once the betas are actually out. The Regen video will be the first thing. Do not worry. I'm quite excited to show you how that's hopefully going to work on FM24. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a lovely day. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.